Okay, that is it for the 10 matches with the Mega Absol EX. So let's take a look at the ladder. And I am close. So I am now in the last tier before the Master League. So I'm at 511 and I need 550. I've got 1 day to get there. Somehow, after 60 matches, I am still at a 50% win rate. And with 39 points to go to make it to the Master League. Started off in the Ogre Pond, now in the Eternatus. So because of the losing points when you lose, I have made progress, but not a lot. So one win, basically, one win, one loss, one win, one loss, etc. But let's take a look at the decks because I did face some that I haven't seen before. So like I said, 5 wins, 5 losses from the 10, and seems to be a trend that I always lose my first match with whatever deck that I'm using. Probably because I'm figuring it out, but this one, I'm going to blame it on that, as well as the fact that I faced a deck that I've never seen before. I'm calling it Baby Blood Moon because it was a non-EX version of the Blood Moon Ursaluna. It's got this ability that it allows you to, when you play it from your hand, you can add 2 fighting energies from your hand to it, and they combined it with a stadium that did damage, 2 damage counters each time you place an energy on something that's non-water type, and its attack does 100 plus the damage that it's like 30 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. So it was hitting for over 300, and when you account for weakness, like with Mega Kangaskhan, it was hitting for a lot of damage, we'll just say that. And yeah, so that plus Munkidori really completely destroyed my strategy. I came back with the win against a Mega Terra box. It was Kangaskhan, the Wellspring, Ogerpon, and they conceded pretty early. Lost to Goldengo and Cerulege, 2 very fast and aggressive decks. That is one thing that I'm finding out with these. I mean, even with the Turbo Energize, if you don't go second and immediately do your Turbo Energize, you are very slow. Came back with wins against a Volcanion EX, which is another one that I had not seen before. So Volcanion was there to burn you, and then they just filled up their bench with Magmortars, which means you take more damage from burn. And if I had not had really tanky Mega Pokemon, they probably would have won that one, but I was able to survive, penny the damage away, and then they conceded once they weren't getting prizes. 56, I only really saw Munkidori, but I think it might have been another Baby Blood Moon deck because they played the same stadium. They had the Lunatone, so clearly they had the fighting energy in there, but they conceded because they weren't able to get set up. Then lost to a Mega Lucario, and that one just felt silly. I should have known from the sleeves because they were someone in the Snom tier, and that's the one thing about playing on TCG Live right now, is that you're going to face a lot more Mega Lucarios than you would elsewhere. Like if you watch any of the competitive tournaments and the higher ranking decks, Mega Lucario is not there. But because everybody got the deck for free in TCG Live, everybody has it here. Everyone tried it out, including me. So yeah, you're going to run into it. Luckily, I was able to redeem myself and win a match against the Mega Lucario. Then came back and lost to a combination Teal Mask Ogerpon and Wo-Chien. That was an interesting matchup. So they also used the Force of Vitality and Meganium, and Wo-Chien was their closer. They actually wound up drawing all the cards left in their deck in order to activate the effect of his secondary effect of his attack. And then ended it with a pretty epic matchup against Gardevoir. There was a mistake or two made. I got an early lead. They almost came back, but then I was able to finish it out. So yeah, I like the deck. It's not my favorite deck, but it is one that I'll have to, try out some of the other megas as well in the future. But As I mentioned, here we are, 50% win rate after 60 played, and I'm at 511 out of 550. I have 1 day left to get to the Master League, and it is taking me longer than it has in most other seasons. Essentially, because of just my win rate, I've had to play as many matches as, like, I want to say back when I did Ethan's Typhlosion, it took me 60 something to get there, or I don't know, maybe it was in the 80s, but you know, that was doing from the beginning, not starting at the Gardevoir. So this ranked ladder has really been difficult, and part of that might be on me just committing too many matches to trying out the different Mega Lucario as well as Mega Gardevoir. But we've got a day. I'll get another deck and we'll try to make up those last few points. See you over there.